Test. Thank you. Hello. Good morning. Oh, good afternoon. My bad. Hello, can you hear me? Clap once. Clap twice. Clap one more time. Thank you so much. My name is Cassandra Chiarini. I'm very, very happy to be here today to moderate this fantastic session on graduate recruitment spotlights. We have two exciting companies that we'll be speaking with today. A very short introduction to who I am and why I'm here. I'm a director at Shortlist. It's a recruitment advisory firm HQ'd in Kenya, but we work
both here in Kenya and in Africa are stupendous. We need to tap into it. We need to offer mentoring. We need to offer the right coaching, and we need to nurture the right skill sets. At Synergetic Development Group, we are proud to have coaching and mentorship programs that touch on those who are in the support departments such as risk, finance, legal. We have Ayan in the background, our colleague who's in the marketing and comms department, business development, and so on. And we do also have technical capabilities. So with that said, with a robust and vibrant culture that we have, I'd just like us to watch a short video that just highlights some of the elements that we have. I'll speak for a little while longer and then pass it on to my colleagues. So Ayan, for us, if you could just play the quick video as we are limited on time. Thank you very much. So from the video shown, we just don't focus on engineering projects. We have a focus on our people. We like to have fun. We like to interact, and we like to get to know one another. That makes executing work much better, much more seamless when you have relationships with your colleagues. Now, in the interest of time, we had just a presentation to do, but I'd like to skip, where possible, just to some statistics that we've put together that will resonate with some of the earlier speakers that who preceded us. So, Ayan, just to the statistics slides. Yep, keep going. Right almost to the very last two slides, kindly, just for time. Sorry, I was told to signal when I want to have a change. So just as that goes, as you can see, we do have, you know, quite a vision, a mission, and everything that we do, our DNA is anchored around our core values, stemming from HSC to customer experience, integrity, excellence, and quality. We are also big on innovation, offering partnership solutions, and we do focus on Africa. We have executed projects in 12 plus countries throughout Africa. We have representation that is continentally diverse. We have Portuguese representation from India, so different tribes, different genders, of course, and a diverse range in terms of age. Ayan? So, relative to why we are here, which is to a company such as Synergetic Development Group offers every young engineer upcoming and anyone else in the support side an opportunity to tap into that. Africa is going to be at the forefront of energy consumption in the future. We are going to have probably among the world's largest population by the year 2050, and that means energy consumption is going to be high. We need to focus on that, and we need to do it focused on sustainability so that we can leave a legacy. So at Synergetic, our graduate trainee program statistics are as follows. We started that in about 2018. As you can see, you know, at inception, it was a bit of a measly program, but then you have to start somewhere. Once you have a vision and a mission, you anchor that and you just start the journey. So all the way to 2023, and this is diverse from support trainees in engineering right through to the technical side that carries the bulk of the weight. But as of this year, we've had 6 graduate trainees in our program, 8 female, we've had a total of 14. We did manage to transition all 14, that's at 100%. And those who we have now onboarded, such as Arnold here, that gives us a 100% absorption rate for our engineers. So if we can skip to the last slide, I'd just like to show that something that ties into our sustainability strategy, something that we focus on under our ESG strategy, our diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our median age is 31.3. Our average age is about 32.9. I don't know how much of that Engineer Helen and I account for, but we'll leave you to guess our ages at the right time. But the breakdown is as follows. The age 20 to 30, as you can see, carries a huge weight. That is 42% of our organization, and we are 200 plus. The next age bracket, that's 30 to 40, that carries another 42%. 40 to 50, 12%, and 2% over 50. So we have a lot of experience and we have a lot of diversity. When it comes to the gender representation in the entity, of the staff complement that we have, the 204, we have 63 females accounting for 31% of the entire organization. Men, 141. Now, it's not to speak to the engineering industry and the nature of it. We are also looking to empower and look for more female engineers. The average age by gender, female 31.3, male 33.6. The executive team are put there as CEC, which is the top executive management. We have 9 leaders there, 2 female, Engineer Helen being one of them, and 7 men. In management, where we have about 35 leaders, we have 9 female and 26 male leaders. Again, statistics that we want to look into. But why hear from me? I'm just a chief of staff. Let's hear from our graduate trainee, Mercy, who can speak more to the experience. So thank you very much, and we will tie up just at the end. So Mercy, most welcome.
Thank you so much, Kibugi. Mercy Chelangat, a graduate trainee in electrical engineering at Synergetic, and I'm truly honored to be here today to share with you my journey and my experience since I enrolled in the program. It's been an incredible ride, and I'm truly grateful for the opportunity and the growth that has come my way. I remember the first day I joined, like entering through the Synergetic doors, I was just fresh from campus, from university rather. And I remember having mixed feelings of excitement, uncertainty. To me, the world of electrical engineering was vast and complex, and I was about to embark on a journey that will challenge my abilities, test my knowledge, and even push me out of my comfort zone. But as I'm here today, I can confidently say that enrolling in that program was one of the most fulfilling or rewarding decisions that I ever made. Their onboarding process made it easier for me to transition into the organization. It created a very welcoming experience, and through the induction and orientation, I was able to feel even more connected to the organization. The support and the guidance that I've received from my mentors and my colleagues has been invaluable. I've had the privilege of working with the most brilliant colleagues and engineers, and the expertise has been a constant source of learning and also inspiration. And through that, I've learned that in this industry, mentorship and collaboration is very vital for success. And I'd encourage young engineers and also those of you who are just almost done with school or still in school and are about to join me in this journey to seek mentors and learn from those who've walked this path before. And we should never underestimate the power of a strong support system. And I'm very fortunate to have found that at Synergetic. I'm also fortunate to be part of a culture of innovation and continuous learning, where we are constantly encouraged to think outside the box, to come up with creative solutions, and also to stay updated with latest technological advancements. Because this industry is ever evolving, and as young engineers, we should stay curious, adopt, and also lead the way in adapting these new technologies and practices. What excites me most is that Synergetic isn't just focused on its own success, it's also committed to nurturing us to be the next energy leaders. It's also committed to professional development. We attend training sessions and also workshops and conferences. They understand that to build a sustainable future, they need to invest in young engineers like us. My time at Synergetic as a graduate trainee has been nothing short of inspiring, and I'm excited about the path ahead, and I hope you're equally inspired to join me in this journey. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mercy. Engineer Helen, Arnold, we have 1.5 minutes each. So Arnold, save some of the best stuff for Q&A. Engineer Helen as well. Arnold, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Kibugi. So my name is Arnold Kiptum. I'm a graduate design engineer. I work under the civil department in our company. So generally, as a graduate engineer, your life evolves working with a lot of teams, especially as your company becomes bigger and bigger. So you're working with kind of business units, for example, procurement, marketing, even finance, for example. So ideally, there is a need to learn how to work with these groups and business units, because in the process of solving all these different problems that you have in your company, for the clients and all, you need to come up with very creative solutions, innovative solutions, and also, coming up with the best cost outcome for your client. So remember, as a graduate engineer, you're working towards the benefits of the client. So one of the lessons I've learned as a graduate engineer for the past 2 years or so is that there's a need to come up with very innovative solutions. This is because the world is constantly changing, the economies are very much changing every single day. So you need to adapt to these situations in order to come up with solutions that can work for your clients very well. So because of this, there's a very important need to be flexible. You need to build up your skills as a graduate, and also, more importantly, you need to be patient, because, as they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. So you need to take time to build your skills, to find what motivates you and what works for you best in order to contribute effectively within your organization. So, and lastly, always remember to be confident and always ask questions, because there's no way. Sometimes the best way to learn is through making a lot of mistakes, and a way to prevent making these mistakes is through asking. So rather than going through the hassle of making the mistakes yourselves, always remember just to ask questions. Always ask questions. It's very important, and because this is how you'll be able to grow yourself effectively. So just to encourage the upcoming graduates and people who are yet to graduate and enter into this field, there are so many opportunities out there. It's very important that you try and get yourself through the door, because once you get through the door, you will be able to find various niches that you'll be able to work in. For example, if you're a technical person, you might find yourself getting into the likes of project management, even marketing, for example, communication, etc. And similar to what Hans said in the previous session, the outlook that you have towards work in your company is very important. People out here who are employing people are very interested to know whether you can work with other people as well. So it's not really a matter of being a technical person or very good at what you are doing, but rather, are you able to work with other people as a team and collaborate together? So, and lastly, always aim for looking for the creative solutions, your solutions that you want to provide as a technical person or as a person in this field of energy. Try to make sure that you are bringing out your solutions very well, you're communicating them very well, as well as making sure that they're logical and creative as well. So, and lastly, always remember to grow, always look for opportunities to grow as well. There's so many people in this field who will mentor you and who will work with you as well to help you grow into this field as well. So that's all from my end, and thank you as well.
Thank you, Arnold. Engineer Helen, just a quick remark.
Good afternoon. I know I've been given 1.5 minutes, and I don't know how I can talk about myself, having had more than 25 years experience in 1.5 minutes. However, as said, my name is Helen Kionohe. I'm a civil engineer by profession, but for the last many years, I've been working as a project manager. I know we have talked about engineering and STEM and oil sector, but I can tell you in my team, I have a cross-board of all professionals. I have accountants, I have admin people, I have engineers, I have all sorts of people. So don't be afraid to venture into the sector. And then one other thing, and I like promoting the youth because I believe they are the future of this country. In our organization, as you have seen, I am among the 2% of the 50 plus within the organization. But I can tell you, youth or age is just a factor. I worked for an upstream oil company for 8 years, and I can tell you I was considered to be among the youngest. So age is very relative. It's what you can deliver within the organization. Another thing I would want us to just clear off our mind, because I know it's a question which was asked in the other forum. We keep asking that employers are looking for people with 2 years experience, 10 years experience. You are fresh graduates. Where are you supposed to get the experience from? I can tell you, I've been in the industry, I've conducted very many interviews. And what I look for is what is in your CV. I will actually take your CV and see what you have done, and I'll ask you questions based on what you have done in your past. You could be a youth leader, you could be a class rep, you could be a church something, anything out there based on what you say you have done, and I will base the questions on what you say you have done. At one point in my career, we were recruiting a maintenance engineer, and we wanted like about between 3 and 5 years experience. And the person we recruited was almost a fresh graduate who was on his internship. And the guy who was an engineer had been in internship for about 6 months at KRA Times Towers, and his role was to change bulbs, electricity bulbs from the ground floor and I think to the 20th floor. And how he articulated himself, he did it so well, it was so efficient, the corridors were well lit, and we gave him a job based on what he has done. So it is not a matter of experience, it is how you articulate yourself and where you see yourself in the future. So thank you, Kibugi.
Thank you, Engineer Helen. Just in closing, we thank you for your indulgence to the youth you've had. Be brave, be bold, challenge the status quo where you can, get the right mentorship coaching, and continuously learn and innovate. Thank you so much from us at the indigenously owned, founded, and run Synergetic Development Group. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was really inspiring. Guys, I can confirm everything they've said is true. We've worked with so many companies, and these are the things they're looking for. It's your personal qualities and your soft skills. So everything you do matters. Highlight those, present them well in your interviews, and grab those jobs. I'd like to welcome our second organization that's here with us today. That's Schneider Electric. Welcome, Carol. You'll introduce your team. But Schneider is an energy management and industrial automation company, and we look forward to hearing a lot more about what you do. Welcome.
Much. Good afternoon. Please look at the slides. We have a short presentation to make, and I'm joined by one of our graduates here. He'll introduce himself. And we have also other graduate trainees in the audience. We'll bring them up later. So about myself, I lead the operations of Schneider Electric in East Africa, and I am also a trained engineer and a trained accountant, but I'm doing none of those now. I'm using a lot of that skill and knowledge in my current job. I'll speak about our graduate programs as well as the work we do with the youth in general. And I hope at the end of this presentation, we will get many of you applying to our upcoming graduate recruitment for 2024. Please move the slides. So I'm just going to share a quick video about Schneider so that it saves me time, and then we can talk about other things. The video, please. I hope it has sound. My technical team, I need the video with the sound. I give it a minute. Okay, let's go to the next slide. We'll come back to the video later. Okay, it's okay? Good. Please, I hope I'll be forgiven for this from a time perspective, for this technical hitch. Should we just move to the next slide? Yes, please. So basically, Schneider is a company that's driven by a purpose. And our purpose is to empower all to make the most of their energy and resources. And at Schneider, we call this Life is On. So we are an impact-driven company. We are on a mission to be your digital partner for sustainability and efficiency. And just to give you a little bit of statistics from a global perspective, so Schneider Electric is a global organization. 2022 revenue at 34 billion euro. We employ 130,000 people globally, and of course, a few of those are in Africa. But the decade coming forward is actually for African youth to be hired by this company. Just move to the next slide, please. So I'm not going to share the data. I think most of you would know that, young people today are launching twice as many businesses as more experienced people. I guess the experienced people, we are getting extinct. Our chairman actually says that we know that there's a lot of focus on climate, and we're saying climate is the century top priority. However, youth education is for us the next decade top priority. I would like to add to say that actually it is not just for the youth education, but I think the African youth really is the next top decade priority. And in fact, our global CEO is an advocate for hiring teams from Africa. So we are really pushing the agenda to hire for Schneider from Africa. So we also do have a sustainability agenda, and one of our commitments that we've made is to train 1 million people by 2025. And we do this by supporting and working with TVET organizations. In Kenya here, we are working with a couple of TVET institutions. We train their trainers, we equip their labs, and we just ensure that we are constantly sharing the industry knowledge to make it relevant. Next slide, please. So just next again. So beyond the technical skills, we also train the youth. And remember, this is part of our social and sustainability initiatives. Our core business is energy management and industrial automation. So what I'm sharing here is just the things we do to enable the youth development and also the skills that we require to be able to deploy the solutions we have for our customers. So we train on technical skills, we train on soft skills, and we do a lot of exposures and internships, both at Schneider and some of our partners that we work with, because we deliver our solutions through networks of partners. Next slide. So we have a global ambition by 2025, like I said, in threefold. So to train 1 million people, please, I need the write-up below. To train 1 million people, to also train 10,000 entrepreneurs, and also to train trainers, 10,000 of them. These are global numbers. And so far, what you see below is what we've done. So we've trained about 7,883 trainers. We are struggling a bit on the youth. We have only 2 years to cover the gap. So we are doing a really aggressive program in the next 2 years. And of course, on an entrepreneurship, we've trained about 8,000. Most of the work we've done with entrepreneurs is not actually in Africa. Most of this we are doing in India. But we want to deploy that program as well in Africa. So I'm going to let Mohammed take over from here and share from his own experience some of the opportunities for young people at Schneider Electric.
Morning, everyone. Afternoon, rather. So yes, I'm Mohammed Abdallah, one of the graduate trainees at Schneider Electric here in Kenya. And I am one of a group of 6 of us in this program for this year. 3 of them are actually in this room with me today as well. So I'm sure some of you have had the chance to interact with them as well and hear their stories. From me, it's a perspective to help you understand what it is exactly we do at the graduate program at Schneider Electric. So you can see it's not very clear, but essentially it's a 1-year program where we rotate through several departments within the company. Different departments have different duties, different tasks. So for example, you have sales, you have marketing, you have field services, etc., and project management. and you spend some time with each of those departments under a specific leader, performing certain tasks and learning on the job. Because I remember someone mentioned the issue of having requirements for 5 years experience while you're graduate. So essentially what this program does is it upskills graduates into what we do at Schneider Electric as an organization, both at a local and at an international scale. So for example, we have reviews every month based on what we've been doing in our program. And then at the end of each rotation, which is about 3 to 4 months, we have another review as well. And what we get out of this is we learn essentially what the company does from different facets. We have a bird's eye view of the company as a graduate trainee and a microscopic view because you get involved in essentially everything. So I told you there's 6 of us, you can see them here. We've been told that we will be looking out for the next year's intake. So please, if you're a student, keep tabs on your LinkedIn, keep tabs on your email, your social career communications email, update your profiles, update your CVs, because we'll be looking forward to having you on board next year as well. So my personal journey has been several steps, several facets I want to talk about, particularly when it comes to extracurriculars. I think it was Engineer Helen who mentioned that she looks at your CV to see what you've been doing in your CV. So for me, for example, I would like to talk about myself as an engineer. When you're in university, there are several societies you can be a part of that have several initiatives, whether it's from a sustainability point of view or from a professional point of view. You have IEEE, you have ISAC, etc. So please be a part of these things. When you're doing your internships, when you put it in your CV, make sure you put what exactly you learned from that role, what impact you've had, because that is what people are looking for when they want to hire you onto their programs. And so you are required, for example, in my interview process, I had to present my final year project. And the reason you do that is both to show from a technical background what you've been doing, but also if you understand its impact on society or commercially as well. So I had to present that as well. So other than the graduate program and everything, we also have a couple of other initiatives for students. One of them is this global student experience that was launched in 2020 during the pandemic. And it's essentially a 2-month program that kicks off in June every year. And 2 of those weeks are for registration. And then after that, you have 3 weeks of e-learning programs where you have sort of self-paced programs that you learn online around several subjects that we focus on at Schneider Electric particularly. So for example, digital supply chain, services, marketing, and sales, because these are skills that you do not essentially learn in the classroom, but are useful for the companies that you end up working for. So that's what this program is aimed and focused at. And then after that, you have a project simulation for 3 weeks, where you prepare a presentation, and you actually get feedback from Schneider professionals and employees based on that afterwards, and you do get certified as well. So it's a great opportunity, I would say. During the middle of the year, around June 1st, that's when the registration kicks off. You have to be in university when you're applying for this program. If I'm not wrong, you should be graduating from between November 2023 up to December 2025. So it's for continuing students. It's something you should look forward to as well. Please go to the next slide. Another one is an initiative called Go Green. So we all know about our climate initiatives, not just at Schneider, but around the world. We need to reduce our global temperatures by 1.5 degrees by 2050. This is an initiative by Schneider to sort of encourage young people to have ideas and bring them out and develop those ideas that can actually turn into sort of impactful projects for the future. So for example, at Schneider, we focus on digital buildings and sustainability and net zero climates. So essentially how this program is run is you are in teams of 2. I would say how it was done this year. We had teams of 2 per university, essentially 1 boy, 1 girl, and you sort of brainstorm an idea around a certain theme, which is to do with climate change prevention and sustainability. And you have to come up with an innovative idea, just a proof of concept. You don't have to build anything. So it's not just for the engineers, whether you're in business, whether you're in engineering, it's about how can you put forward that idea, show us its impact, and can you develop that? So how it works is you get mentorship from Schneider professionals, and every region sort of has a finalist. So we have Africa, we have Pacific, we have Europe, we have Turkey, etc. And these finalists, when they get to the finals of this competition, you actually get to put forward your idea to the global team. you get an international trip if you win. So there's no definitive start date for this, but it is a yearly program. So like I said, keep tabs on your LinkedIn, keep tabs on your communication. So yeah, thank you. That's all from me.
Yeah, so just to wrap up, thank you very much, Mohammed. Also, something that we did not include in our slides is Schneider has a university that is available online and is free. I encourage you to learn. It's called myschneideruniversity.com. You can Google a lot of free courses you can learn on technology, but also aspects of sustainability. Sorry, I need my slides. I need this. So I was going to mention that one of the big initiatives that we drive as well is on diversity. And here we look at diversity from different aspects. We look at gender, but we also look at generations. So as much as we focus on building diversity from a gender perspective, we actually aim to hire fresh entry level is 50%. We have this as a sustainability KPI. And of course, mid-management, we are aiming to have 40% female, and at the top management, a minimum of 30%. And I'm glad to report that our global executive is actually today 44% female. So it's very encouraging. And for women, really, this is an agenda that we are pushing very strongly. Of course, we focus a lot on the early careers, like we said, and on the Go Green competition that Abdallah shared, we actually, in the past, have had some of the graduates that join our organization having been winners of the Go Green competition. So it allows you an edge over the rest if you participate and win. Sometimes even if you don't win, but participate. So just a little bit of advice for the youth, that as you build your technical skills, I know this is said a lot of the time, think about what else that will differentiate you. Ensuring that you develop skills on critical thinking, creativity, being adaptable, also elements of emotional intelligence, and of course, really being a global citizen. I think we are living in a global world, and just ensuring that you're up to date on that. A lot of our communication for Schneider is digital, so you will not find any of our advertisements on the newspaper, but you will find it on LinkedIn. Mostly that is really where we communicate and reach our audience, including that's also where we advertise for jobs and everything else. Thank you very much. I see that you're standing. Appreciate that. I'd like to have the other graduates just stand so that you can see them, the ones who are in our program. So yeah, they are, and one of them is there. So you can talk to them just to find out how competitive the interview process is. I think what you didn't mention is that we sift through a lot of applications, and you really, really must stand out to be selected.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? Okay, good. Thank you so much. This was a fantastic presentation. Guys, take advantage of the resources that they've mentioned. I'm sure there are very high quality courses that you can take with them in the university online. I'll be checking it out personally. Sorry, 1 second. Hello? Okay, awesome. I'll also be checking it out because I'm always looking for amazing resources to share with our network of youth that are working with us to find their career paths through Shortlist. So thank you so much for sharing that information. We now have the entire team here for the Q&A session. I'd like to welcome you to ask as many questions as you can. Don't give them an easy time, make them tough. Let's find out what we need to know and leave here with as much insights as we can. I believe we'll have a mix of live questions and online questions. So if you're online, please feel free to drop your questions on the forum, and they'll be shared with us to share with the panel. Thank you. Okay, so we can start taking questions. The mic will come around. Please put up your hand. Enthusiastic over there. Let's go. Please introduce yourself. Oh, sorry, then you could go next.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Anne Kwegi. I'm a student here at Strathmore University studying international studies. And my question is to both Schneider and Synergetic, sorry. So there's been an emphasis on the engineering aspect. So I'm asking if in the other departments, if there is room for other collaborations from other participants in other fields, either through the partnerships office or anything to do with that, because not all of us, I believe, are from from engineering background or have that background. So this is to both companies. Thank you.
Thank you. Kibuki, do you want to go first and then Carol? Thank you.
Right. Thanks a lot for that question. So the answer is yes and yes again. So for us, for instance, at Synergetic, we have other departments. I'm not sure what area of interest you had in particular, but we have departments that span risk management, finance, we have logistics, supply chain, HR, legal, admin, business development, marketing, and comms as well. So it is vast, it is wide. The thing is with engineering, the emphasis being because it is core business. However, without all these other facets, there would be no engineering. So there are openings. And the other thing that we have at Synergetic Development Group is that you also get exposure to other facets such as strategy execution, there's process excellence. You can be a process champion, you can be a strategy champion, you can be a risk champion. So I think key to us and key to where the globe is going, and I'm happy to see Schneider here. We are partners on some projects we've executed in Mombasa. The key to the globe right now is there is the element of being a specialist, but very important, as Mohammed had said, to be multi-skilled. When I look at a CV, similar to what Engineer Helen said, I'm not looking at just your one area, you got a 2 and an upper second, a first class. I'm also looking at how well-rounded can you be? What are these other interests that you have? Because at the end of the day, whether you want, whether it's you're a young lady or a young man, and you want to get to the apex of leadership, you have to understand how to read books, financials, balance sheets, and so on. So that's the sort of exposure you get. So the answer to your question is yes. Thank you.
So much. Carol?
Just to add that if you look at the energy sector, I'll look at it from the energy sector. I mean, the technology is at the heart of it, but there's a lot of other things you need to make it work. So I always say you need legal people to do the contracts. You need environmentalists to understand what's going on and to do all the... There's a lot of things, and there's space for everyone. When you hear us talk about the graduate programs, that just is the graduate programs, but there are many, many other entry levels into the organization. So it's not a lost case. I also would like to encourage you to really understand some of the trends that are happening in the world, because if you're doing international studies, that really gives you the opportunity and be that voice. Thank you.
Amazing, thank you. Have any come through online, or should we take another question from the
We'll
crowd?
take another one from the audience.
Okay, thank you. This lady over here with the glasses had put up her hand. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joel Ndungo. I am a lawyer by profession. I work at the Youth Sustainable Development Network as an associate consultant for ESG. So my questions would go to Carol and Helen, who mentioned that they've spent years transitioning their careers from what they did in campus. And as someone who sees herself doing that, I would like to ask, what are the practical ways that a young person who's fresh from campus, actually graduated in July, can do this?
Helen, would you like to start, and then we can... Thank you.
So thank you very much for the question. Yes, it is indeed true that you can transition your career, but it is always good to start where you are comfortable with. If you are in law or you have done law, start in the legal department. Then when you are within the organization, you can work yourself through, interact with the other departments. Like in my team, I deal with lawyers a lot because they help me review my contracts. But I will also carry them along when I'm going for the site meetings or the client interactions. And if you're keen enough, you'll be able now to get deeper into the projects and be able to understand. There's one of the projects we are doing, it's a UN project, where environment and sustainability is very strong. When we were going into that project, we didn't really understand what it takes. But I can tell you, because of interest, even myself, I've taken a keen interest to understand this. And it's a big thing in the industry. So get yourself into the organization, but have a focus. Where do you want to be in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, in your career? As I said, I started off as a civil engineer. I only did design and engineering in a design office for 2.5 years. And I went to work on a construction site. And after that, I went to the project management, where I have done projects, even myself, I didn't believe I could do. My previous employer, before I joined Synergetic, I was working for Talo as a civils manager. Even when I applied for that position, I was actually daring myself, and I didn't think I would do it. And as I said, when you consider age to be relative, when I went for the first meeting there, I found a boardroom full of expatriates and old men. There was no lady. So one, I got a bit intimidated. I'm the only African, I'm the only lady. Until I did my presentation, and one guy told me, Helen, I think you are a genius. And it's something I'd never been in upstream oil and gas. And I can tell you, I was there for 8 years. It was the only department that I was heading that was headed by Kenyans. And I had a mix of expatriates and a lot of Kenyans. And I would always tell the Kenyans that we have to fight this battle. We have the knowledge and we have the skills. And I can tell you outside there, what beats us, especially as Africans, and I won't say ladies or gentlemen, it is our lack of confidence. Sometimes you're not able to articulate ourselves. We have a lot of education. We have a lot of knowledge. Our education system, I can tell you, is the best. You just need to put your best foot forward, remain focused, and I can tell you, you'll go places.
Thank you so much. Carol?
I think for me, my career transition began straight after graduation, because I graduated from engineering school and took a job in an audit firm. And so clearly that was the first transition. I didn't do any engineering from day one. However, it all came together, I'd say 7 years later. So I built my career then in the finance world, and I had to get a finance qualification to be relevant. So one of the lessons there is you need to be able to adapt, but also skill yourself for the role that you have. So today you have a training in law. I mean, if you can find an opportunity to build your career, at least at the beginning, I always say for entry-level positions, it's important that you have the right skill to be able to do the job. But you know, my engineering training came together later in my career and consolidated. And today, working in a company that is, you know, heavily technology-driven, just being or having that qualification gives me some credibility in the organization. So I always say every qualification, every experience that you have is going to be relevant, regardless of, you know, sometimes it may not be in the path that you think is a straight path. And also careers are not straight paths. It is zigzags and whatever, up and down. Looking at that and keeping an open mind, I think for me, the advice I would give is to remain adaptable, but also to have a teachable spirit and being open to learning.
Fantastic, thank you. Careers are zigzag. We have questions online?
We do, we have a few coming through. This one is from Emmanuel Rono. What advice do you have for a candidate in assessing whether a company's culture aligns with their values and work style?
Thank you. Kabugi, would you like to fill that one?
Right. Sidika, if you could just repeat the question one more time on culture.
What advice do you have for candidates in assessing whether a company's culture aligns with their values and work style?
I think to that, I'd say it's a lot of intrinsic elements. So It could be just from how you walk into the place. It could be through your onboarding process. So I'll give an example for us at Synergetic. When you come in, average age 32, I think Prof was here earlier, was saying at Strathmore you have to, dress a certain way. For us, you'll come and find a legal guy has a suit. You'll come and find the engineers have their boots, sometimes a reflector jacket, others have their polos, others have jeans, and so on. That's reflective of some form of culture. How you're welcomed, look at the core values espoused by the company, look at the mission. Do those core values also speak to those of yourself as a person? I think that's very important. The other thing is go through the spectrum of the offerings of the company. So you get in there from a technical ability of whatever sort. You could either be an engineer, you could be in IT, you could be in whatever. But then what other elements do you have? You've seen at Schneider, they have Go Green, initiatives that you can also have fun with. For us, we have, mountain climbing, we have a running group, so we do things like Stand Chart Marathon together and that kind of thing. There's a hiking group, lunch breaks where you get to interact with some of us. I think Engineer and I like to say we are not bosses, we are just people with a different lens from the experience perspective. So just even how sticky a boss can look, how sticky someone says hi, and all these things, all those nuances speak a lot to culture. So when you look at elements such as learning and development, is there a department in HR that perhaps looks at that? Are there elements on performance where you have to deliver in a certain way? So for us, in a performance management system, when we evaluate you, we'll look at your core competence, your KPIs and meeting that, but we also look at your soft skills, your collaboration, we are looking at your empathy, we are doing all of that, and we are scoring that based on how your managers, your supervisors, and so on are ranking you on that. I think all that fits into the culture, and when you get that kind of vibrant environment, a robust culture of that nature, you're in the right place. Thank you.
Thank you. Another question online?
More question on the line, and then we'll come back to the room. Seeing as we are heading towards an era of electric-powered vehicles, is it still wise to pursue a petrochemical career?
Thank you. Carol?
That sounds like a Helen question, right? but I would say that I don't think that today we are going to fully retire oil and gas. I think it's going to be here for a while. And if you look at the energy transition conversations, even though we are beginning the journey, the traditional energy systems are going to still be here, and we still need skills to support those systems. So I would say, I don't think in my view, actually, maybe there's going to be scarcity of those skills in the future, because if everybody else is transitioning, who will support the systems that will still be useful? I'm not sure that in our lifetime we will see the end of oil and gas.
I fully agree with you, Carol. And I can tell you, Uganda is moving very fast to develop their oil and gas industry. So we are in that world, and you have to accept that fact. So things will eventually change, but they will not be immediate. So let's not be discouraged. Let's continue. But as we are saying, once you get into the industry, see how you can transition yourself to be able to keep up with the technology.
Thank you. Just to add one quick note there, there's a focus on transferable skills. So even as you go through the courses that you've chosen today, don't panic, they're super relevant. And in the view of what's coming in future, start upskilling yourself and seeing what the trends are, and start learning about those trends, so you have a bit of both to position you for the jobs of the future. Any questions in the room? Come back to. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sandra Siwa. I'm honored to be one of the US Army pioneering members. So my question to you, panelists, is for those studying engineering courses, is accreditation key? Dr. Engineer Helen mentioned that you consider attitude and you also consider what someone has in their CV. But for me to climb up the corporate ladder, for example, in Kenya, there's so many limitations when it comes to accreditation. So how can you go about that? Is it key?
So thank you very much. I can tell you accreditation is key, and it's not a rocket science, I can tell you. When I applied for my accreditation, it had taken me about 5 years into my career because there was a lot of stigma, there was a lot of fear. We know the panel was made of those old schools engineers, and it was made to look very difficult. And I remember when I went for my presentation, after that I was asking myself, why did I take so long? It is not so difficult. And you know the process nowadays is very, very easy. You start, once you graduate, you can apply as a graduate engineer. It doesn't take anything. It just requires you to have your degree certificate. And then once you start working through your career, you require at least a minimum of 3 years working under a qualified engineer for you to be able to sit and face the board. But I can tell you for a fact that that title engineer opens doors for you. They have jobs I've applied for. Some I don't really qualify, but because the title engineer is there, it opens door for you. So I'd say go for it. We are there to mentor you. It's not difficult. You can make it.
Thank you.
Can I just weigh in there? So I'm going to be the unpopular opinion. I'm actually 20 years after graduation, and sadly, I'm yet to be accredited. So I don't know whether it's sadly or not, but I think it really depends also on the career path that you choose. So depending on whether you're going to follow the very, I would say, core technical, then it's very relevant to be accredited. If you're going to be on the periphery, like some of us, maybe not. So really depends on the career path. I'm actually now being invited by the EBK CEO to, can we make it easy for you to be accredited? So it's now the other way around. So I'm not doing a lot of effort. It's helping from where I've reached. But I also know a number of, most of my classmates that graduated with me many years ago and others, including in the organization that I work for. I champion and lobby for people to get accreditation. I think it's important to represent the career and also the profession that you sit in. But I wouldn't use it as a reason not to progress your career. So just know that there's no black or white, it is very gray.
Thank you. We had a question in the middle row. Okay, go for it.
Good afternoon, or is it evening? My name is Gennaro Mugoy. I'm from ICT Authority, state corporation under the Ministry of IT. And mine is a challenge to you guys. We've been having issues in terms of cooperation with the private sector. We had that training graduates is an issue, which takes long. So under my parastatal, we have a program known as the Presidential Digitalent Program, where we source graduates, fresh graduates from universities, and we incorporate them into different government entities. We have some in Kura, Kenha, and the graduates are specifically in engineering and IT, graphics design, software development. But the issue comes in when we have a period of 3 months where we're supposed to train them in private sector companies. So we've been having an issue in getting private sector partners. These are graduates who are actually paid for by the government, so you won't have to take something out of your pocket to pay them. But the issue is the partnership. We know that we need these skills to train these graduates. I've heard there's an engineering company here. There's Schneider, a very good engineering company, renowned. So it's a challenge. Are you guys willing to accept some of these engineers? You can give the number you want. If you want 20, we'll provide 20. If you want 10, we'll provide 10. Because we do a recruitment of 400 of these fresh graduates each year. And it's a period of 12 months, 3 to 4 months, we're supposed to allocate them to private sector companies for them to learn. So this is a challenge in front of witnesses so that I follow up after this. Are you guys willing to actually take some of this? They're engineers, they're software developers, very, let's say top. because there's also a vigorous interview process for you to be actually hired. And the next cohort is starting in December 7th. So is it possible for me to go back with an answer to my superiors on this question?
That's a brilliant question, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I need to see you outside the tent. But as I invite you to comment on his question, I'd also like to say that we'll be taking one more question online after this comment, and then final remarks. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to say there's probably a number of programs that government is driving because we already engaged with the one that the EBK is driving, and we've been hosting some of the interns through the EBK program. So I don't know the one that the ICT authority is driving. I guess it's probably, I'm learning from you. It would be interesting to know more about that.
Thanks for the challenge. I also echo what Carol is saying, that specificity as well. For us, I think as two companies, very much open to that partnership. Public sector, private sector, must thrive in harmony, both to develop careers and so on. The other thing as well is from the engineering side where you have CAD technicians and all those kinds of things, but more so I'll speak to the other side of it because I'm not the most fluent in engineering, but the world is headed towards being data-driven organizations. You've heard from Schneider that they don't even have, theirs is digital footprint. You're not gonna find, they're paperless, as are we. So as we head towards being data-driven, where you're looking at things like machine learning, you're looking at utilizing your Power BIs and your AIs, Chat GPT now, Elon Musk has something called Grok and so on. So we are at that sort of foundational takeoff of technology. So in answer to that, I'll throw back the KPI to you for your bosses is who reaches out to who. Thank you.
Thank you. We're taking one more question online. I'm so sorry. Let's network after this to continue asking them questions. We're all available. But thank you for your interest.
Thank you. We can definitely continue asking questions over lunch, so don't worry if your question hasn't been answered, but we just have to give those people who are not fortunate enough to be here a chance as well. Somebody in agribusiness. I am in agribusiness. How can energy solutions help me? It's a bit of a wide question, but maybe some of your talk about some of your energy solutions for agri.
So I'd like to take that. I think if you think about any aspect of life, agribusiness included, there's some form of energy requirement or usage. Let's start from if you're planting, you'll probably be using, I don't know, a tractor, and that tractor is using some form of energy. If you're processing, whatever form of product you are, there will be some form of energy that is being used. If you're in dairy and you're feeding your animals, you'll use some energy to do the cutting of the feeds and all that. So I like to look at it and say in agribusiness, there's use of energy, but also some of the agribusiness products can be sources of energy generation. There's a lot of, today, biogas usage. I was actually personally involved in the first biogas to power project in Africa, grid scale, 2.4 megawatts. It's here in Kenya, in Naivasha. And if you're interested, it's actually using agri-waste to generate 2.4 megawatts of power at VegPro in Naivasha. So think about how that link is. And there's a lot we can talk about agribusiness and energy. So don't just imagine that energy is irrelevant. I think energy is at the core. Even if you are producing a product and you need to transport it to the market, you will use some form of energy to transport it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Allow me just to add on that, because we keep talking about clean energy. If you go to a lot of remote areas where farming is taking place, I can tell you solar is doing good business. A lot of people in Ukambani, I also do a bit of agribusiness, drilling boreholes, and you use solar to power that the pumps. And I can tell you it's a big thing. So just think outside the box, and I can tell you you'll be able to do a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I was going to plug a resource where you can get more information about how to combine your careers and contribute to the clean energy transition. Please do check out Shortlist Futures online. We have a program or a platform called Africa Climate Careers Network, where we're debunking how lawyers, engineers, project managers, salespeople can work in these industries and support our engineers in actually making a difference when it comes to this. So I'll encourage you to do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. That was a really lively session, and we shall continue after lunch. You are now all invited to step out of the room, and we'll take a nice big group photo so you can show your children and your grandchildren when you're very successful and say, this is where it started in this conversation. But we'll take a photo, and then Strathmore University are kindly going to provide lunch for all of us in their canteen. So they'll take us in two groups, and we can continue our conversation and come back in an hour. But thank you very much to everybody for this excellent discussion.